Hi, boys and girls. I hope you're having a great afternoon. I'm going to read The Gingerbread Baby by Gingerbread first before we do some patterns with our gingerbread men. Okay? And it's one name, so Gingerbread means she does both the author and the illustrator, right? She does both jobs. It was cold outside. It was warm inside. A fine day for gingerbread, Maddie thought. Maddie's mother put the big blue bowl on the table and lit the stove. Maddie took down a worn-looking cookbook with old-fashioned writing on the cover. He opened it up to the page that said Gingerbread Boy. They measured and mixed. Maddie rolled the dough into the shape of a gingerbread boy, and they popped him into the oven. Bake a full 8 minutes. No more, no less, and do not peek, the recipe read. Maddie listened to the clock. Tick-tock, tick-tock, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3, 4, 5. Maddie couldn't wait any longer. He opened the oven door to take a peek. Instead of a gingerbread boy, out jumped a gingerbread baby. He pranced around the big blue bowl. I'm the gingerbread baby, fresh from the pan. If you want me, catch me if you can. Maddie's mother reached for the gingerbread baby to put him back into the oven, but he ran all around the kitchen. The door opened and in came Maddie's father. What's that delicious smell? He asked as the gingerbread baby tumbled through his legs and outside into the yard. He ran by the tabby cat and she twitched her tail and sprang at him. They rumbled and tumbled, but the gingerbread baby came out on top. He ran toward the garden wall and the dog caught a whiff of tasty ginger and sniffed along behind him. But the gingerbread baby was halfway up when the dog caught up. He barked and barked as the gingerbread baby climbed over the wall. Maddie was still inside and he heard his mother and father yelling. He heard the cat meowing and the dog barking. And he heard the gingerbread baby shouting, "Catch me if you can." Maddie opened up the worn-looking cookbook for the second time. Meanwhile, the gingerbread baby wheeled on down the path and into the barn. The goats looked up as he somersaulted across their backs. The last one tried to catch him, but the gingerbread baby was too fast. He's clever, isn't he? Martha and Madeline were standing by the well when the gingerbread baby stopped by to take a drink. They looked at each other and winked. Martha started to talk to him while Madeline tiptoed up behind him with the bucket. But they couldn't fool that gingerbread baby. Here he goes. They couldn't fool him. What's he going to do? He took a braid from Martha and a braid from Madeline, and he tied them in a knot, and he ran down the road. Back in the house, Maddie stirred and mixed and rolled the dough. He shaped it, put it in a pan, and into the oven. Tick-tock, tick, 8 long minutes. This time he didn't peek. I'll catch him if I can, Maddie said to himself. As he was bouncing along, the gingerbread baby saw a farm wagon just ahead. He jumped in and settled down for the ride next to Mama Pig. The smell of gingerbread was too much for her. She tossed him high in the air, closed her eyes, and opened her mouth. But the gingerbread baby twisted in the air and came hard down on her porky snout. I'm the gingerbread baby, too quick for the mother and father, too fast for the cat, the dog, and the goats, too clever for Martha and Madeline, too smart for Mama Pig. Who's left? Catch me if you can. Feeling smug, the gingerbread baby strolled along by himself until he came to a bridge that crossed over to the village. Just as he got to the middle, he heard running feet behind him. He saw a crowd of villagers ahead of him. The gingerbread baby was trapped. He jumped up onto the railing, backflipped through the air, and landed on a chunk of ice floating down the river. The ice bobbed along with the gingerbread baby dancing on top and singing in a loud voice. Look at me! What do you see? The best gingerbread baby ever. Until his feet got cold and he jumped ashore. Who is that watching from the trees? It was the fox. He crept up behind the gingerbread baby, ready to eat him up. But the fox couldn't help himself. He licked his chops, smack, smack, and the gingerbread baby heard him and ran as fast as he could. Licking your chops, smack, smack is like this. That's called licking your chops. Just when the fox was catching up, the gingerbread baby saw the milk and cheese man with his can of milk. Oh, the perfect hiding place, he thought. He lifted the lid and lowered himself inside. He was so pleased that he sang at the top of his gingerbread voice. Ha ha, hee hee, you'll never find me. I'm the bin gingerbread baby. Catch me if you can. The milk and cheese man heard the gingerbread baby's voice. Who's meddling with my milk? He shouted. And he lifted the lid, but the gingerbread baby was ready. He jumped up and tweaked his nose. You know what that means? Tweak means to pull your nose, tweak your nose. Now the milk and cheese man, the fox, the villagers, Mama Pig, Martha, Madeline, the bleeding goats, the barking dog, the meowing cat, the father, and the mother were all after that gingerbread baby and getting closer, and he knew it. The brash baby was not as peppy and proud as he had been. He sniffed a familiar smell, and he ran into the woods. He couldn't believe what he saw. There in the middle of a clearing was a gingerbread house, frosted with sugar, covered with candy, and doors with peppermint handles wide open. The gingerbread baby clapped his hands with glee and ran inside. In a tick-tock-tick, everyone arrived in the clearing, but all they found were a few bits of frosting, a peppermint candy, and some crumbs. The father exclaimed, "The gingerbread baby's finally met his match." "I wonder who it was," the mother said. "Well, let's go home and tell Maddie." "Hello, Maddie," his father said when they got home. "We never did catch that gingerbread baby. All we found were some crumbs in the snow." "Oh, I see you've been busy," his mother said, looking at the gingerbread house Maddie was holding. "Too bad we never caught that gingerbread baby." "Too bad," said Maddie. But only Maddie could hear the tiny voice from inside the gingerbread house. See the gingerbread house? Who's in there? It's the gingerbread baby. "I'm the gingerbread baby, lucky as can be be living in the house that Maddie made for me." The end. That was clever, huh? Maddie made a house so you would run inside and you got to keep the gingerbread baby. Okay, boys and girls, you should have a baggie with some colored gingerbread in them. Okay, I want you to get them all out, and you should have 3 different colors because I'm going to try to do a couple different patterns with you. Okay, remember, a pattern is something that repeats, like red, blue, that's a pattern. Or red, blue, yellow, those are patterns. So I want you to take out some of your colors, and I'm going to try to do one first. See if you can do it with me. Okay, I'm going to do red, green, red, green. What would come next? Red, green, red, right? I'm going to put them down on the table and push this down so you can see. Okay, red, green, and then red would come next. Then what? Green, right? Then green would come next. That's called a pattern. So there's one pattern. Let's see if I can do one with 3 colors. What if I did yellow, green, red, yellow, green, red. See, what would come next? Yellow, green, red. Yellow, green, red. What would come next? Yellow, right? And then red, then green, then red. Yellow, green, red. Yellow, green, red. Remember, it repeats. Okay, so that's another pattern you could try to do. Another pattern, watch this. This one's called 2 colors. 2 colors, then 2 colors. Yellow, yellow, red, red. And then you'd have yellow. And what color would come after yellow? Yellow, yellow, red, red, yellow, yellow. You're right. Good job, boys and girls. Okay, so that's what you can do with those is make some different patterns. You could get really tricky. You could even do one like this. I have a really tricky one. Let's see if we can do this one. Green, green, red, green, green. What would come next? Green, green, red. Green, green, red, right? Then what? Then another green and another green, right? Then green, green. So those are some patterns you could do with your gingerbread men. And if you want to, you could glue them on your paper if you want. After you try to make some on the table, you could try to glue them on paper into a pattern. Or you could just leave them like this and play with them. Do different patterns. You could even have your parents or your siblings do a pattern and see if you can make the same pattern or extend the pattern. Extend means like when I ask you what comes next. See if you can help them out by telling them what comes next on their pattern. Okay? I hope you guys have a great day and have fun with your gingerbread men. Okay? Bye.